Geography and You presents.
Hello and welcome back to Death by Fahrenheit, a GNY live podcast series where we unpack the science, suffering, and solutions behind extreme heat in India. I'm Hiteshika, your host. Heat waves are no longer rare or regional. They are now intense, frequent, and devastating, impacting everything from our crops to our cows. In this episode, we explore the critical intersection between climate change, agriculture, and livestock, and how rising temperatures threaten food security and rural livelihoods. We are joined by Dr. Shulagna Chattopadhyay, an expert in climate policy and environmental governance. As our discussant, she brings a key analytical lens to the conversation, bridging the climate science with policy action and amplifying the voices of those most affected. Joining me today is Dr. L.S. Rathore, former Director General of the Indian Meteorological Department, a veteran agrometeorologist with years of experience in observing weather patterns and advising on climate resilient agriculture. Dr. Rathore offers a rare blend of scientific insight and on ground understanding of India's vulnerabilities to heat. From the dry heartlands to the warming Himalayas, from milk yields to Matar Paneer, this conversation will bring you closer to the tangible impact of heat waves on our daily lives. So let's dive in. Over to you, Dr. Chattopadhyay.
Thank you, Hiteshika, and welcome, Dr. Rathore, to our podcast today. We are very honored to have you with us.
Dhanyavad, Sulagna ji and Hiteshika ji. It's my pleasure to be part of this discussion.
Thank you, sir. Matar Paneer, you say. I'm quite intrigued, but I'm sure Dr. Rathore will, open that up for us. But, sir, you stay in one of the driest parts of our country. You're in Jaipur right now, and you also work in, these Rajasthan areas. I believe you have, some land there as well. So, what has been your experience between this climate change and heat waves vis-a-vis the region that you stay? It's one of the hottest and driest places in our country.
Yes, rising temperatures are testing the human limits, and particularly so in the Thar desert region of India. Because the extreme heat has killed thousands of people in Rajasthan in recent decades, and climate experts have warned that by year 2050, India, including western part of India, will be among the first place where temperature will cross survivability limits.
Oh.
Already we have seen a couple of episodes where temperature has crossed 50 degrees Celsius, and the records of 51 plus also have been recorded in some parts of the desert region. Resulting this increased heat content in the atmosphere causing heat waves, the onset of summer is occurring sudden and earlier than usual. That is number one. Because and therefore taking the public by surprise, and also resulting in longer duration of the heat waves or hot weather per se. And beside the increase in the air temperature, the increase in the duration of the heat wave, increase in the frequencies of the heat waves, and increment in the extreme events are the most causal factors for causing discomforts and deaths. And added to that, that there is a fast increase in nighttime temperatures. Earlier, desert region definitely cools down during the night time, and nights are very pleasant. But if there is a heat wave causing dust load increment in the atmosphere, which beside impacting on the human health or animal health, or also giving feedback to the climate, also keep the nights warmer because of the changed radiative properties of the boundary layer atmosphere. We also should need to understand that heat waves occur mainly uh, during the period of the March to June. That is what we call as summer or pre-monsoon, when maximum temperature rise to very high levels, especially in most parts of Thar Desert. So yes, many things. Desert ecology is also changing because of more greenery, more water, and so many demographic changes have taken place, including urbanization, industrializations, and the presence of solar and wind power, and so on and so forth. But notwithstanding all these things, there is a tremendous impact on the lives of people and also the entire flora and faunas, because the cycles are getting messed. Therefore, also the food production are also likely to be impacted.
You have brought in this very pertinent point about heat waves bringing up the minimum temperature. That means at night things are not cooling. Now, if you can give us a sense about which are the places that are suffering, because is all India, pan India, the situation the same, or are the Himalayas suffering more heat waves or more impact, or or is the Deccan region suffering more impact? Which are the regions that are actually to look out for or the most vulnerable to this kind of changes that we are seeing really?
Sulagnaji, if you have to look at the warming aspects, you can't look things in isolation. You have to uh, think global and then come to regional aspects and then local. And the warming is across the regional domains of uh, be it oceans and continent or pole or everywhere the Mother Earth is warming. Now, coming to the context of India, uh, because oceans are also warming, and Indian Ocean is warming, and Arabian Sea is more warming, and therefore the warming is having a different kind of modulations in different parts. Because if the moisture in the atmosphere is more like in coastal regions, the dynamics of warmings are different, and in the plateau region the dynamics are different, and when it comes to the northwest India particularly, because the air is a little more drier than other regions, the dynamics are different. And when you go to the mountains, there comes the altitude factor also come into the play. So different altitude, the dynamics of heating is also different. So there is no uniform formula, but yes, number one, there is a overall warming, but there are pockets where warming is more pronounced, and that include the northwest part of India, surely.
Okay. Now I'm coming to a little bit of agriculture part. So I understand from whatever we have done research that there is going to be an impact, a detrimental impact on the production of say grains and the size of grains and the early maturity and all of that, which I want you to explain. But I also want you to explain. Um, we are also understanding that there is more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Now, carbon dioxide, wouldn't it like there is also studies that say carbon dioxide actually helps protein or grains grow in size. So if there is more carbon dioxide and there is more heat, wouldn't it actually help more production? Why is it reducing the production?
Good point, Sulagnaji. Actually, the CO2 fertilization, because basically it is photosynthesis process where carbon dioxide in presence of light and water converted into carbohydrates. So, and that is the synthesis of food. But at the same time, plants, on the one hand, they do synthesis of food. At the other hand, they also consume food for their energy requirements, and therefore the respiration process is also going simultaneously. Now here we have to understand two things: that photosynthesis takes place only during the daytime, whereas respiration takes place 24 hours a day. And as if there is increase in the temperature, the respiration rate also increase significantly, meaning which the consumption of energy which has been synthesized by process of photosynthesis is also much higher. So you have to look at the net balance, how much food is synthesized by the plant and how much is consumed to meet its energy requirement. And because of enhanced energy requirement, there is a net loss of the sink, the storage. And
Okay.
therefore, end of the day, we are going to face a negative growth rate or negative production by the field crops as well as other vegetative processes.
So, are we seeing that? Are we seeing a loss of production as of now? Is there anything that shows us, any data that shows us that we are?
Yes, we have a lot of studies. I myself we have done, and we have done on rice and wheat, and we have simulated the increased CO2 and increased temperature on the impact on the crop using crop simulation models, and because the moisture requirements also increase with the warming, so it is not only the net photosynthate, but also the limitation of the moisture stress keeps building on the plants, and you need more water, which is also a very, very important aspect. So across the crops, in field crops, we have seen that there is a impact on the productivity. Uh, uh, it varies from crops to crops and season to season, and most importantly, the horticultural crops. You see, field crops, you have an advantage that you can manipulate agronomically the crop environment, or selecting the cultivar which is suiting to the, or which is heat tolerant or things like that. And you can also develop new varieties in a lesser period of time. But when it comes to the horticultural crops, particularly the plantation crops, like for example, apple in Himalayan region,
Yes, and oranges in Arunachal.
oranges, apricot, plums, peach, oranges. I mean, Himalayan region, we have seen that there is a shifting of flowering dates, shifting of fruiting dates, and the production. And it is not only the heat in summer; it is the temperature in the winter which is requiring these trees to have a chilling period. So that also is altered. So, because of summer is one aspect, but the winter also tells a different story.
That's quite a revelation, knowing that this could. So, like you said, that there were cultivars that were being developed for heat tolerance. And so, what is the situation there? Is there an uptake? Are the farmers shifting? Or are we shifting to more heat resistant, like millets, for example, like bajra, jowar? So, is there a sizable shift towards these kind of more resistant crops? What is, in your view, is happening on the ground?
Sulagdaji, to the best of my assessment, the selection of crops by the farmers is driven more uh, by economic criteria.
Okay.
They are still very few farmers are responding to that. Though, like a wheat cultivar, he will see for his or her region which is a variety most suitable to the changed climate. But I'll put it in a different way. For example, wheat is cultivated right from central India to the pole, North Pole. So if you take India, wheat is cultivated from the core of tropics to part of extra tropics to the Himalayan region. And there are different varieties of wheat which are being cultivated because it is not the same variety. They face different temperature and climatic regime. And therefore, the new varieties which are being in fashion, and farmers are adapting to those varieties, are definitely having an element of temperature tolerance and
Okay.
less water requirement. That's obvious reasons, because these are two becoming a great limiting factors.
So, so you say that we have some technologies in place or some techniques in place for reducing the stress. Do we have anything that we are preparing ourselves for because of this heat wave and higher temperature conditions?
You see, the main challenge is, in fact, the temperature rising at a time when crops aren't at a stage to be harvested. Like as I was telling earlier,
Hmm.
the heat waves come March to June. Now, if you look at the dynamics of our cropping season,
Hmm.
March, April is the season when our wheat is being harvested or other rabi crops are to be harvested. And then May onwards, we start preparing our nurseries for paddies, and then the plantation of cotton and sugarcane being a perennial crop, we have
Hmm.
a different kind of water requirement and temperature requirement. So every crop has a different requirement, and they start getting ready earlier because of the warming, and therefore the yields are lower, particularly wheat. We have done a lot of experiment, ICR has done, agricultural universities have done. So if there is a more pronounced warming in February, March, April, the plants are still young and not ready to go to senescence, and therefore uh, there are impacts, but significant impacts are also seen on vegetables and fruits. You see, we have seen that in summer, the cost of vegetables and fruits are directly related to the losses we incur because of extreme weather events, including temperature. And but vegetables, there are a lot of things which has been done, technological
Yeah,
intervention has
like for
been.
example, if we talk about drip irrigation, or if we talk
Yes.
about, like not to flood, for example, paddy, if we don't flood the fields, and we have a normal, just the way we cultivate wheat, if we can cultivate rice like that. So that kind of uptake, we know it's there. But I want to know from you, what has been the uptake of these technologies, if at all, and then precision farming, for example. Like we know that Bangalore has some amount of precision farming, but has it gone to other places? Has places like Rajasthan actually gone into precision farming, or even drip irrigation, or even I have seen some places they have these not drip, but they have these sprinkler irrigation systems all along the road of Bikaner. I've seen that a long time ago. But how sustainable is that? How is it doing?
Farmers are really uptaking these technologies in a big way,
Okay.
uh, uh, particularly water conservation in agriculture.
Hmm.
So farmers are really adapting to these technology, not only water conservation, but other agronomic practices. You mentioned about the precision farming. Precision farming is still farmers because they are not able to generate site-specific or farm-specific data of their farm location because soil testing is not that
Hmm.
level and so on and so forth. There are many issues. But yes, response farming is very much in place.
Okay.
Uh, and response farming means what is the response of soil, water, and crop in terms of water, in terms of nutrients, in terms of pest and disease, in terms of weather and climate. And that is fairly well defined, and there are agrometeorological service which are assisting farmers in making the response farming. So yes, farmers and particularly vegetables, as I was talking,
Hmm.
the controlled environment cultivation of vegetations is very much in place today, and large number of vegetable growers have adopted to these technologies.
So, moving on to our Matar Paneer. So, Matar Paneer is, of course, a kind of winter dish, but also a signature dish for India. What is happening to paneer really? Matar, you just explained that vegetables are also on the line of, fire kind of a thing. But what is happening to dairy, for example? What is happening to poultry, for example? How do heat waves impact them, like this short 9 days of extreme heat? What does that do to cows? What does that do to livestock as such? What, even fish, for example? So if we have these short spells of intense heat, and then broken by a thunderstorm and lightning, so this cycle of having more water vapor in the atmosphere, So tell us a little bit, give us an idea.
Sulagnaji, our flora and fauna, both of the desert region, are very sturdy, let me tell you, number one.
Okay.
And over the centuries, they have adapted, and the genes are muted times and again to respond to these kind of things. But many things have changed in the recent past. If you look at traditional species of livestock, we find the best breeds on this mother earth of cows, horses, donkey, camel, sheep, goat, all animals, including in the desert region of India. These are the best breeds like Tharparkar, Sahiwal, or you name it, and they are the best breeds globally. And they are able to sustain those temperatures. But what we have done is we have ignored our breeds and we have gone to exotic varieties, exotic species, which are not tolerant to the changed extremes.
Okay.
And therefore, we are paying the prices. So it is multiple things because different animals, we grow animals for now the drought purpose for the animals is almost gone because we are all mechanized. So we grow, we keep them or rear them for milk, meat, wool, and other products. Now, if you look at the milk production, uh, though we are claiming that we are uh, we are number one or number two in milk production, but the purity of milk is a big problem. So we will not go by those data, but the fact of matter is there is a cycle of of every animal as to what is the production during the stress period. It's when I say stress, weather and climate stress, as you were asking. Definitely, there is a decline in meat, uh, milk, and wool production whenever there is a stress, beside their health impacts, because health impacts, uh, health refers to the state of well-being of animal when they are free from disease, injury, or physical discomfort other than the weather and climate. So, under those conditions, when they are able to grow and reproduce and perform their ecological and economic roles effectively, but uh, if there is a stress, you see, like animals, they cows come into heats, and the buffalo also they have a reproductive periods, and if there is a stress on them, their reproductive cycle is also being impacted,
Okay.
and because it significantly affect their hormonal productions and regulations in all the cattle, including horse, goats, even birds, rodents, jungly hato bhi. So they cause fluctuations in hormones to alter the body functions and the reproductive functions. So it is very important that they negatively impact dairy animals, reducing their feed intake, thereby decreased milk or other yields, and also the quality of yield. And let me also tell you, in terms of poultry, we have done a lot of services in the southern part of India, like Namakkal and Telangana region, and we have agrometeorological units where exclusively catering to the poultry region. If there is a spike of temperature suddenly in day by 3 or 4 degrees Celsius, the mortality of birds is very high.
Oh.
If temperature increase slowly over the period of 3, 4, 5 days, birds get acclimatized. But if the sudden spike of temperature is there, the mortality is higher. And that I am sure, I'm not. We have not done a study, but my general experience also reveals that there is a significant impact on the physiology of animals, and the production is productive and reproductive cycles are impacted negatively.
So, on a lighter note, should we have ACs for livestock now? No? I mean, what do we do?
Sulagnaji, ACs are killing us. Uh, when I was child, there was no electricity in my village. So we were without fans. We were very happy. Then fan came, and then came cooler, and then we discarded fans. I mean, और एक कूलर आ गया, and then now air conditions, and so therefore we have compromised our tolerance to the heat or cold, because we have altered the climates of the houses. And so if you do that for animals, which is very difficult, because it adds to the cost to the farmers. Yes, there are techniques which are, you can say, alternative mechanism or ways to mitigate the impacts of increased temperature. So you can do cooling, you can have better shelter, you can regulate their feed mechanisms, because animals, some animals, they do not eat when they feel discomfort.
Yeah, yeah.
But some animals, they don't discriminate. Like for example, poultry. In peak summer, we minimize their food intake, because if they eat more food, they produce more energy, and body temperature also keep going. And
Okay.
then in poultry, we have foggers and other things where you can do controlled climate. But for sheep, for wolves, those who do in a limited manner, yes. But most of the farmers do pastoral activities. They have to
Move
take the
out.
animals outside, and so it's not possible. But yes, cool roof programs and the having such shelters which are uh, able to give good
Ventilation, maybe.
ventilation, etc., to the animals is always welcome.
So, our closing question to you. So, what is the way out with the kind of heat waves that we are seeing and the kind of recurrence of that heat wave? Like it's more frequent now. What is your solution for first for agriculture and second for livestock? In your view, what needs to be done? I mean, do you think this? I don't think this can go away right now or in another decade or something, that it will just disappear. Not with the kind of temperatures we are seeing. We have already breached 1.5. So, what in your view should be done as a plan to kind of mitigate this?
We have to put a system in place where, on the one hand, we have early warning mechanism. And with early warning mechanism for different sectorial applications, we need to make the public aware that on human health, these are the impacts, on cow, these are the impacts, on buffalo, these are the impacts, and accordingly, these are the responses you have to uh, you make. So early warning one hand, and the public awareness and community outreach is an aspect number two, which we need to strengthen. And thereafter, we need to strengthen capabilities of responders. And in that responders capability increment, we have to also do the capacity building and also promote adaptive measures, wherein like heat tolerant breeds, and but that takes a longer time. It research is going on, and there is a lot of focus now that we have to um, promote our breeds, improving them for better milk production in changed environment, changed climates. Yes, these are three aspects: early warning, public awareness, and promoting adaptive measures and capacity building, where we, as an institution, as a governmental support system, as a public support system, uh, they have to come together to face these challenges.
Right, sir. it was lovely speaking with you. We learned so much, and I'm sure our listeners will be very, enlightened after this. Hiteshika, I would request you to kindly close our talk today. And thank you once again, sir.
Thank you very much.
That was an eye-opening and thought-provoking conversation. A big thank you to Dr. L.S. Rathore for his invaluable insights on the science and solutions to one of the most urgent climate risks we face, heat waves. From the vulnerability of crops and livestock to the promise of adaptive technologies and alternative lifestyles, today's episode has shown us that while the crisis is real, the answers lie in informed action, innovation, and sustained climate policy. Stay tuned for the next episode of Death by Fahrenheit, where we continue our journey through the rising temperatures and their rippling impact across India. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify, Instagram, and YouTube so that you never miss an episode. Until then, stay informed, stay resilient, and let's beat the heat with the knowledge.